Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we are going to do our final uh, kind of sum up everything part of the revival here. And as you can see, one of our final steps was to put some panels on this guy. So, it's kind of hard to justify doing something that's purely cosmetic and something that's a mechanical revival, but there is a functional purpose to these panels. They do direct airflow into the engine properly, and they also prevent a bunch of debris from getting just blown around the engine bay. And so today we're going to take a look at these aftermarket panels, and then we're going to go over a couple of the little things that were part of the revival. Yeah, we'll kind of give you an idea of what we see happening with this tractor and maybe some of the stuff that's going to be coming in the future. And after we get through this this overview and kind of wrap up of the revival, we're gonna post some videos that have a little bit more in-depth technical information about some of the specific things on these tractors that I've now realized are extremely common and come up all the time in forums and stuff with people have questions about this stuff. So. Yeah, let's get started. Let's take a look at these panels first. So these are some eBay specials here. You can see the color's not quite the same. Not a big deal. Obviously, they are nice and shiny, whereas this is like a faded paint from the 90s. The mismatch is probably less noticeable if this is all buffed out and polished and stuff, so once we clean up the fender pan, it'll probably look a little less weird than this. Bought the complete kit, which is an upper hood assembly, a lower hood assembly, and then a bumper cap, and a bumper cap. So there's three pieces up here, and then there's an upper and a lower to this. I have to say, overall, I don't even know if you can get these from Deere anymore, but I can't imagine you can get them from Deere for the price that you can get these on eBay. Just under $300, you can get the whole set, and then the decals are ordered from a separate vendor. The decals turned out pretty well, I mean, I wasn't super picky about how they went on, but they went on nice. The fit and finish on these plastics is really not bad for what you'd expect. Like, of course, you still got to be super careful with this stuff because it's just kind of a brittle design, but like, everything fit really well. I had to use some different fasteners because this thing kind of came without anything. The grill had some of its fasteners, but, attaching the upper and lower pieces together. I actually went through there and put some Loctite and used some different fasteners. And these are not the coarse thread fasteners that came from the factory. These are just, I don't know if you can see it. Oh, come on, focus. It's not wanting to focus. Those are basically just quarter 20s. So I ran a tap through there to make sure I had some good threads, and then I put some Loctite on those guys there. Like I said, they're not the coarse thread that should be going into this plastic, but they'll work just fine. So the only fasteners that kit ships with are some of those slip-on U-nuts or whatever you want to call them that go down here to attach the bumper assemblies. Like I said, fit and finish is actually not bad at all. And then functionally, this whole area here seals against the radiator screen and seals against this lip down here so that air can come through the side and in there. Keeps this area cleaner, much cleaner, especially, this time of year when it's fall and there's leaves and it's kind of dry out and stuff, and so it keeps all that stuff clean. It cleared our aftermarket fuel pump assembly here, so all this stuff is just fine. No big deal. The only thing I think I saw fit and finish wise was the gap right here between these outer bumper panels and the frame was a little bit too big, and so I had to add a washer there, and you could probably add more than one because you can see the hood rubs just a hair right here as it closes. So this piece is up just a little higher, I think, than it should be, but not by much. Yeah, so it went together well. It fits here just fine. You know, you're gonna find some little stuff like this casting flash right here, this like sharp edge along the top of the hood here. We're gonna have to file that down, clean that up. But hey, I mean, it makes a huge difference. And if this is something that I could make, I would have made it, because $300 for a bunch of plastics is a lot. But this is a tractor that is really worth it, in my opinion. These are just really nice machines, and they're worth putting a little bit of money into. So yeah, I think it looks great. Headlights work, everything works. Let's get turn the headlights on so you can see them. Yeah, check that out. Cleaned out those lenses too. They were really gross. But yeah, it works nice, huh? Hear a little clicky-clacky pumping away there. So, yeah, the panels are done, and that is kind of like the last big step in the revival. We still have some small issues to address here. One of the things I wanted to note, I didn't say anything about it when we first went through the revival, I don't think, is that, and this is probably a common problem, this pedal here, this forward pedal, likes to rub on this mat. So we took an X-Acto blade and contoured this rubber mat here to clear that pedal. Contoured it all the way up until it touched the metal, so it can't be cleared any more than that. If your pedal's sticking, check that guy. It's probably a common problem, I would assume. Didn't look like there was anything really wrong with this. It just kind of swelled and shifted. Yeah, so what's next? We're going to put another toolbox on. So there's one over there. I found a used one on eBay. We'll put another one over here. I'd like to put some handles on the fenders too, so you can kind of brace yourself as you're mowing on slopes and stuff like that. We live in a really hilly terrain here, so that's pretty handy. The seat, we've kind of committed to this aftermarket seat now. There's a different set of brackets in here that I used. I'm 6'3", so I needed it to be back pretty far. And so I've given a couple different locations there for seat angle and seat placement. And that seems to work pretty well. I mean, it doesn't look quite right, but it works great. It makes the tractor a lot more enjoyable for me. I'm like I said, I'm super tall, and so my legs are basically up on my face with the factory location of the seat. The seat springs are working out pretty well. I drilled a bunch of holes through them to make them nice and soft, and they, yeah, they're doing all right. They're not pretty, but they work. We've got a tail light to fix over here. She just busted out. Cosmetic. Purely cosmetic, really. Those aren't even actually lights. Those are just reflectors. We need to get some tires on the back. Ain't having these turfs. They're going to go away. Be nice to have a matching set of tires on the front. I hate a mismatched tire, but everybody's holding there, so it's fine. The deck is working fantastically. The hydraulic system is working perfectly. The drive system is working perfectly. A little bit of noise still from the PTO bearings, even after they were greased, so they're probably just a little worn. It's not getting worse, though, but you actually, when you move the deck up or down, you can hear the difference in tone from the PTO bearings. Like, as the tension on the deck belt changes, it pulls down or up against those bearings. You can hear the load change. So, you know, I know it's not perfect, but I mean, this thing is 85% restored. I mean, this thing is solid front to back. Super reliable, starts up every time, doesn't use any oil. I mean, it's just a fantastic little machine. Yeah, so I just wanted to give you kind of an overview of where we're at on it. Let's see, is there anything else? Oh yeah, we're going to be getting a front blade for this guy. That's right. So, the Deere setup for these series of tractors uses a front blade that has a subframe that goes back and hooks up into the rock shaft, basically kind of where the deck lift is. And then it's got what's called a front lift kit. And a front lift kit is a rock shaft that goes through two brackets in the frame here, and then has So there's a separate rock shaft that runs through there, and then there's a strap that goes between the rock shaft and the hydraulic lift. Now, the problem with it being a separate component like that is that a lot of the used blades you'll find, or snowblowers, anything that uses the front lift, a lot of those implements you can get used at a reasonable price, but in order to use them, you need this lift kit deal, and nobody seems to have that with the blades or the snowblowers or anything. They stay on the tractor. You know, they'll take the blade or the implement off, and then the lift kit will stay on the tractor, which becomes useless as a mower. It doesn't do anything. So we've got a blade lined up locally that we're going to grab. And then for the lift kit, I'm contemplating fabricating something. Someone was nice enough to give me some measurements and some dimensions for what should work for the lift kit. I just, $300 for a set of panels that I can't make. It's not like I can make something like that is one thing, but it's like $300 for just the rock shaft and the strap and some hardware, some miscellaneous hardware. Like there's some bushings that go into the frame there. So we might make one unless I can find one really reasonably priced. I don't know. Just seems kind of ridiculous to me to pay $300 for a steel shaft with some attachment points and a lift strap, but we'll see. But that's about where we're at. That'll round up the revival. Our plan now for the revival series is to go back in and go into detail with some of the more technical data that I think is going to be pertinent to this thing. So we're going to look at the fuel system again, we're going to look at the ignition system again, and we're going to talk about the Kawasaki steel cam / plastic cam issues. So yeah, let's hear this Cowie go. Everybody likes to hear a good running engine, so, and this one runs so smooth and nice. So let's just give it a little purr. What do you think of that? What a sweetheart, huh? Look at that. That's a sweet little rig right there, guys. Thanks for watching. We'll keep you updated on what else is going on with it.